Hi, I'm BG Hennessy, and I'm going to be answering an email question today that I got from Kai, who's in St. Wilfrid's Primary School in the UK. And Kai wrote me this week, and he said, I am writing to tell you that I have enjoyed one of your books, and I would like to ask you a few questions. I have read the Once Upon a Time map book, and I found it quite brilliant. So I had to answer the questions, right? There were pictures, maps, and lots of instructions of how to get to the end. And I've heard of the Scary Places map book, and it sounds really interesting. Why did you think of writing the Once Upon a Time map book? Well, Kai, that's a great question. And it's one of the books that was probably the most complicated of any that I've worked on. And it really started off when I began thinking about what kind of places I'd like to go to and creating maps and directions and a tour guide of each of those places. But it really didn't start off as the Once Upon a Time map book. At first it started off as Little Bo Peep's Hide and Seek. Now you may think that writers always work in words, but that's not always true. And in this case, I actually made up a little dummy of how I thought the book would be fun. And I thought I made little fold-up maps that were going to go inside. And probably the most interesting and different thing that I did in this particular book was I actually made like a little three-dimensional clay model of what was then Mother Goose Village. You can see there's a shoe for the old woman who lived in the shoe. There's a tree with Rockabye Baby. There's haystacks for, let's see if I can show you, haystacks for Little Boy Blue, Peter Pumpkin Eater's pumpkin. Because I wanted to get across the sense that maps really represent real places, even if they're real imaginary places. Little Bo Peep's Hide and Seek evolved into the Brothers Grimm Lost and Found, and you can see sort of a tall, skinny shape because it reflected how maps look. Then, finally, the first edition of the Once Upon a Time map book was tall and skinny, like this. And it started off with a tour. It was really the honeymoon tour for Cinderella and Prince Charming. And then each map had directions and folded out like that. Each map in the place. And the maps and the directions are all the same. But at the very end of the map of the book, in the Enchanted Forest, where the coach here, now the coach is waiting to take Cinderella and Prince Charming to the royal castle. And like all fairy tales, it ends where they lived happily ever after. And there was this really fabulous castle, pop-up castle in it. It was a lovely book, but it was not strong enough for a lot of libraries. So then we did the hardcover version, which is probably the version that you're familiar with. It's also available in paperback. And in fact, this year, it came out as a really big book in the United States. Where it can be used in classrooms, because it does have, as you pointed out, has a compass rose, it has the map grid, there are directions, there are hidden things in each map, and I'm glad you liked it. Since you liked that one, I'm pretty sure you're going to like the Scary Places map book, and I'll show you a couple pages from that. This book is a little bit different in that there's like an introductory spread before you get to the map. This is the ghostly galleon cruise of the Seven Seas. And in this map, Captain Davy Jones has chartered a special cruise aboard his favorite ship, the Ghostly Galleon. From sea monsters to pirate islands, the captain and his sea dogs will make sure you don't miss a single blood-curdling sight. See if you can find Scurvy Boy. He jumped ship on the last voyage and hasn't been seen since. The motto of this crew is, we'll put a shiver in your timbers. So pack your spyglass, batten down the hatches, and get ready to set sail with the evening tide at Lucky Pier 13 in Haunted Harbor, if you dare. And then the maps, let's see, this is, the map. And then like the other map, there are directions, there's Scurvy Boy. There are 7 maps in this book. Hercules takes you to the land of mythical monsters. Gruesome Gus takes you to the Western Territories. The Wicked Witch takes you through the Wicked Woods into Witchfield Village. Igor will pick you up in the Bloodmobile and take you right to Transylvania. Nightmare Ned takes you through Nightmare House. And Dr. Jekyll, or perhaps Mr. Hyde, will take you to the Museum of Haunted Objects. I think we also added in this book a couple of pages of more hidden objects, things that are misplaced. So there's really quite a lot of information here. You'll find on my website, which is where you wrote to me, www.bghennessy.com. There are some activities, there's teacher's guides, there's literature guides for books that have to do with scary places for each map. And I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for writing, Kai.